Update 27.1 is live on PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Ivara Deluxe has launched and the skin by itself can be purchased for 165 Platinum, or you can purchase the collection for 225. The collection exclusively includes the Dali Ballistica skin and the Thyazi Syandana. As a reminder, if you purchase the skin by itself and later want the collection cosmetics, you will need to pay the full price of the collection. Ivara now has a Laverian showcase accessed from her market page, so if you want lore for her, go to that. A new Shorzen has been added to the game for 40 Platinum, and that's the Corbu Shorzen. Next on the list, in total, 4 new Augment Mods have been added to the game. 1 for Garuda, 2 for Baruch, and 1 for Hildren. Garuda's augment is titled Bloodforge and is for the Bloodletting ability. This augment reloads the equipped weapon completely, and Bloodforge can be acquired from the Steel Meridian and Red Veil. Baruch's augment is titled Endless Lullaby and it is for the Lull ability. This augment, when the player performs a finisher on a sleeping enemy, re-triggers lull for 100% of the remaining duration with a passive plus 50% lull duration. Endless Lullaby can be acquired from the Arbiters of Hexus and New Loka. Baruch's second augment is titled Reactive Storm and it is for the Serene Storm ability. When Desert Wind has been cast, it gets granted plus 35% status chance and changes its damage type to match the enemy's weakness. Reactive Storm can be acquired from the Arbiters of Hexus and New Loka. Lastly, Hildren's augment is titled Balefire Surge, and it of course is for the Balefire ability. Fully charged shots restore Hildren's shield by 250, and any impacts with nullifier shields will destroy them and restore 750 shields. Balefire Surge can be acquired from Cephalon Suitor and the Perrin sequence. This update has changed the way Kuva Liches function and Valence transfer. When a player ignores a Larveling, or if they execute one to get their own Lich, they will receive 100 Kuva upon mission completion. Larvelings, when downed, now present a weapon that they will roll with when converted to the Kuva Lich, and that showcase does appear above their head in the downed but not out state as shown on screen. Kuva Liches no longer kill you when you have the wrong Requiem combination, and to indicate that the Lich survives the encounter, it leaves the mission. Valence transfer is now Valence Fusion. Valence Fusion can improve the stat of your Kuva weapon even if the weapon you use to upgrade has lower stats. And the weapon you choose first will be the weapon that remains with the improved stats after the fusion. The example provided for clarity was the following. Your Kuva Com with 25% damage can be fed into your 40% weapon to make it 44%. Your Kuva Com with 40% damage can be fed into your 25% weapon to make it 44%, and your Kuva Com with 25% damage can be fed into your 44% weapon to make it 48.4%. This change allows us, the players, to reach 60% on our Kuva weapons while clearing poorer rolls out of our inventory and just doing whatever. DE also stated they're looking at other places that could potentially use this mechanic, such as Railjack. They also shared that they are aware of questions about murmur hunting, but that is outside of the scope for this update, and they'll be reviewing it in the upcoming weeks. With those Kuva Lich changes made, there have been 3 new Kuva weapons added to Liches, those being the Kuva Hind, Kuva Nukor, and the new bow, the Kuva Brahma. In regards to self-damage for this weapon, DE are making a bow-specific cautious shot mod to release later, but it is not a part of this update. Now, DE increased the minimum time converted Liches are in your mission 4 to 2 minutes, and they increased the damage converted Liches deal per second with a damage bonus upgrade of 3 times. Plus, a fix was also made to converted Liches not using their abilities. DE doubled the chance for a Lich to generate an ephemera to 20%. The Parazon screen now displays your known Requiem and previous attempts. Kuva Thralls should now all have a new marker. Kuva pickups and rewards are now displayed with a unique pickup notification. Kuva Liches can no longer be Parazon stabbed as they are escaping. DE cleaned up the visual metal chunks from the Lich's Carapace ability. You can now search the Kuva Lich History Codex section by name, Kuva Weapon, and Ephemera. They fixed the Kuva Lich's Ruse clones displaying the default Excalibur helmet on their shoulders instead of the intended Warframe. They fixed Nidus's helmet armor not appearing grayscale on Kuva Liches, certain enemy types being allowed to be spawned as thralls, cases of the Kuva Lich ping-ponging between locations when engaged, and they also fixed Descript error when changing resolutions while in the Kuva Lich screen. As for overall game, melee heavy attacks can no longer be triggered by holding your melee key and must be triggered via the alternate fire key. DE has stated that they have no intention of making a toggle to allow both to exist. NPCs now have about a second delay before being alerted to the presence of NPCs or players exiting an invisibility state. They also removed Riven mods from the Codex mod screen. All Gas City and Sanctuary Onslaught and Elite Sanctuary Onslaught Captura scenes can now be sold. A fully charged Orvius throw will now activate its enemy suspension mechanic, and they restored the original default energy colors of the Limbo Lamina skin and Necros Akalia skin. For the Railjack changes, the Omni tool is now a gear item, so you can choose where in your gear wheel you'd like to place it. They increased the maximum power for the Zetki Predator Avionic to 80. The Show Equipped option will now show ranked avionics that are equipped even when the Show Ranked option is disabled. Hijacked cruise ships now start the reactor meltdown sequence when they reach 0 health. Ordnance weapon icons now become translucent while in cooldown and will reflect a timer icon to better indicate its current cooldown state. And they also changed the Railjack engine component rating stats from kilometers per hour to meters per second. As for the Railjack fixes, DE fixed the Railjack speed stat showing a higher number than your in-game movement speed. They fixed the Railjack forward artillery not damaging cruise ships past their engines, cruise ships not recovering after becoming disabled by your Railjack guns, the Railjack host being able to use the navigation before the mission is complete, and clients' inability to use navigation at all when launched from the dry dock. They fixed enemy captains spawning in the asteroid base commander point of interest, and commanders spawning in the kill the galleon captain point of interest. The Galvark missile launcher not functioning for clients, Fiery Phoenix not becoming disabled when flux energy reaches 0, a full ranked flow burn not being upgraded further when placed into a max rank grid, battle avionics remaining disabled for clients after the Railjack is repaired from a critical breach, dome charges being consumed when a client enters the forward artillery regardless of actually firing the big fucking gun. They fixed an issue where clients would see the forward artillery reload multiple times while waiting for the host to put dome charges in the weapon, clients not seeing the Shatterburst battle avionic explosion effect, clients not seeing the missile created by Shatterburst or the Void Hole avionic. They fixed being left out in space if you're aboard a cruise ship when it despawns due to mission completion, cases of losing the Railjack Forge UI if you attempted to activate it while sliding, Railjack ammunition and supplies that were spent during a mission not saving at the end of a mission, losing current Railjack skins and colors if a host migration occurred and you were the last remaining player. They also fixed Railjack avionics salvage pickups, sometimes not showing the distance markers, the camera braking when warping to another player while in the Arcwing slingshot. They fixed the tactical menu chase camera to better reflect the view of the player's camera. They fixed the dry dock creating a blocking volume in a room that is built below it, issues with selecting the Veil or Saturn Proxima nodes when using a controller. They fixed a cooldown bar on Railjack Ordnance burst fire weapons emptying and then not starting to fill until after the laser's done firing, instead of when you initially fire. They also fixed the Railjack Tactical Avionics cooldown tooltip information not applying intrinsic cooldown reductions from tactical response and swift tactic avionics. They fixed the Void Cloak cooldown timer not updating when viewing in the tactical menu, and they fixed upgraded avionics not showing their proper description and stats, such as being unranked and ranked. For optimizations were made to the Kuva Fortress tileset, which includes cleaning up wasteful materials, abusive lighting, volumetrics, overdrawn meshes, and much more. DE did provide the on-screen screenshot to show the before and after for these optimizations, so it is there for those that are curious. Now they also made micro-optimizations to a script used in survival missions. They improved performance of the Railjack cannons and when using the Imperator Vandal in Railjack. They optimized runtime lighting in the Earth Cave tileset, real-time lighting in the Jupiter Gas City Index tileset, and they optimized the Omni tool to fix a hitch when equipping it. They made a micro-optimization to a script used for controlling doors. Some micro-optimizations were made to the HUD performance, especially on the Railjack. Micro-optimization was made to UI performance, including while piloting the Railjack, to Railjack points of interest once sub-objectives have been completed, to a script that handles fire breaking out on a Railjack, to Chroma's effigy ability, and to a script used to animate the Dorkamus. And now we have the overall game fixes, and they follow. DE fixed an inability to invite people to a squad if your matchmaking was set to solo before joining a public squad via an invite. A script error and loss of functionality when viewing Arcwing weapons without having the Arcwing quest complete. Garuda charging her Dread Heart at full strength from any amount of energy regen, Mirage's Hall of Mirror clones not shooting the last round in your magazine, and the clones not animating properly for double and wall jumps. They fixed index enemies not attacking Gara's Mass Vitrify wall. They fixed the damage done by Oberon's Hallowed Ground during the index, increasing dramatically if the player was in operator mode, Glaive's lifespan timers not functioning correctly for the host, Ivara's Navigator not pausing some lifespan timers for projectiles, which allowed the projectile to die of old age while you were still controlling it. They fixed follow-through stats changing when the Sigma and Octantis and Cobra and Crane are equipped with a stance mod, the Sanctuary Sentinel mod and Companion Shelter mod, leaving an invulnerable shield lingering forever for the host if it was used in a no-shield nightmare mission. They fixed projectile explosions and embed damage not properly using status chance upgrades, some cases of the deploy resource extractor button losing functionality, cases of invulnerable corpus turrets. They fixed K-Drive spawning ridiculously far away after being left on top of water in the Orb Valence, Wisp's agile animation not idling properly when the Shadow is equipped, the Blade and Whip weapons clipping into Wisp when she runs, being able to revive in the ceiling in part of the Grenier Fortress tile set, being able to get behind the first data conduit in Sanctuary Onslaught, the power menu UI remaining open when entering a data conduit in the Sanctuary Onslaught when using a controller, the Orb Valence and Plains of Eidolon objective markers moving around when in Arcwing. They fixed companion weapon ribbon mods not displaying under the mods tab in the Cephalon Samaris offerings, Nightwave multi-rank ups past 30 displaying incorrect tier numbers and the prestige status on the rank up pop-ups. They made performance issues with Calendar Themes rollers, performance issues with the Ballistica projectile trail effects over long distances, an issue where the defense target's head would float above the cryopod in defense missions, maggots potentially being created out of bounds when spawned by the death of a broodmother, animation issues with the Grenier Flameblade causing its second and third attacks in its combo to miss its target, Lephantis sometimes not immediately dying after all three heads were destroyed. They fixed being able to see outside the level from the gate in Cetus, using the fast travel feature to high luck, teleporting the player mid-air, Ivara's Artemis Bow arrows not reflecting the chosen colors when stuck in objects and enemies. They fixed fully default look links not applying to your Warframe, fixes were made to look link colors not applying properly to Kubrau, Kavats, and Venari, the look link diorama for Venari appearing squashed and having a normal Kavat tail, overwhelming elemental effects on Titania when she is given an elemental buff, positional audio not working for stereo and headphone outputs, in-game voice chat not functioning properly, the voice input and output device toggle in the settings screen not having any effect the first time you tried to change it, pet companions struggling to pass zip lines. They fixed having to click through market items that only require one step to purchase, an ability to escape the Grenier Settlement tileset level bounds via Nezha's Blazing Chakram, missing door frames in the Grenier Settlement Sabotage tileset, a missing minimap in part of the Grenier Shipyard, a teleport volume in part of the Grenier Sea Lab tileset that was larger than it should be, a hole in part of the Grenier Sea Lab, a rock that was missing collision in the Plains of Eidolon, a rock clipping into the vent on the Corpus Outpost tileset, extra music loops playing when selecting Little Duck's exotic goods. They fixed Simulacrum ammo pickups playing the shield recharge sound, an inaccurate Arcwing quest tutorial text, several potential script errors caused by Warframe abilities, and the following are all script errors. They fixed a script error that could break various drone escort missions including Plague Star when changing loadouts while in Fortuna, an error that could break a bounty stage if the objective was destroyed right at the last moment for clients when changing arc guns in the arsenal in the Simulacrum while another arc gun is already equipped, a possible script error that could occur if you aborted a mission right as a missile locked onto your Arcwing, if you joined a mission while the host was running a K-Drive race, when your Sentinel activates the Revenge Precept, when your Kubrau activates the Stalk Precept, a script error related to ragdolled enemies in the Orb Valence, numerous script errors when casting certain Warframe abilities, a script error related to Nidus's Undying passive, and some inaccurate lock text. Now 27.1.0.1 did follow this up later, and that made the following fixes. A script error if you viewed a Kuva Lich or Parazon modding screen with 3 known Requiems, the Kuva Hind and Kuva Nukor names being replaced by the Kuva Shield Egg in languages other than English, a crash when aiming with a Quartz, and switching weapons while Mirage's Hall of Mirrors is active, the Cautious Shot mod stacking each time you enter and exit Titania's Razorwing, Hildren's Balefire charge shots not displaying drain per shot and damage for charge shots when viewed in the arsenal, Hildren's Balefire Surge augment triggering when hitting allies, Baruch's Reactive Storm augment resetting the status chance back to the non-augmented values after a direct punch to someone, And they fixed clients being unable to see blue bubble effects from Sanctuary and Shelter mods, and the Lance Codex diorama appearing very dark. So that was 27.1 Kuva Lich changes and all that jazz. There's the patch notes. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Tile set level bounds via blah blah blah.